I think the first thing that always stood out with Mark is just his speed and athleticism and grace really on the lacrosse field. He's one of those guys, if you went and watched a game, you'd be like, wow, who's that guy? I think the other big thing that stands out with Mark is just his work ethic. And I know there's people that he looks up to like Tiger Woods and Michael Jordan and some professional athletes, and a lot of it has to do with the work ethic that they put into the game. Mark did the same thing with lacrosse. I mean, there's not too many guys that are in their 30s and married and have kids that are out at St. Paul's, working on their game by themselves with a bucket of balls shooting. There's not too many guys that are, hiring a personal trainer and working out with those guys. Mark did all those things, and he's one of those guys that you look at on the lacrosse field and you don't know whether he's right or left-handed. He's known as a scorer, but also always had a ton of assists. And really just because he worked at his game and made it really a priority for him. And you take the combination of the speed and the athletic ability that Mark has and had and put into that the work ethic and the time and the effort that he put into the game, and you get one of the best players ever. On the lacrosse field, there's not a lot of things that Mark can't do or couldn't do. And he's one of those guys that he just was a phenomenal player, and I played with and against some really talented guys in my career, and for a long span of my career, Mark was the best player in the game. One of the things that made him such a great player was his stubbornness, and people know that about him. I'm sure his wife knows more than anybody. But he's a real strong-willed guy, and it's one of the things that made him such a great player. At the end of the game, Mark was the guy that you always wanted the ball to be in his hands. As a coach, as a player on his team, maybe as a guy on the other team, you didn't want it to be in his hands, but you knew it was going to be. He was that good of a player, and he never shrunk from that. And more times than not, things ended up pretty well, and I guess that's really the reason that we're here today. He's also done a lot of things off the lacrosse field for the game of lacrosse. He worked for a lacrosse company. He runs a bunch of tournaments in the summer. He's one of the guys that really helped launch the Pro League, the MLL. He runs around like a crazy man all summer running camps and clinics for young kids. I think it's one of the reasons that lacrosse is growing and has grown to be such a big sport. There's guys like him out there that are continuing to do that to help grow the game. To get into the Hall of Fame means a couple of things. The first is you're getting old. I guess the second thing is again, it's really just a culmination for Mark and for really anybody that's in the Hall of Fame of the time and the effort that they put in. I don't think anybody really plays this game to get into the Hall of Fame, but when you look back on Mark's career and the things that he's done, there's not an award or a piece of hardware that he doesn't have. This is an honor for anybody, but for somebody that lacrosse means so much to, this is a tremendous thing and a tremendous honor, and he really deserves it. So congratulations.